Hello, Knowstones. You smell that? That's the smell of bullshit. We'll get to the source of it in just a moment, but first a bit of background on this video. This is Rhethoric, well, his logo. In addition to his videos debunking flat earth and other space-related nonsense that you should definitely go check out, Red also has a stunning footage of rocket launches on his channel, like this one of an Atlas V, which he dedicated to me of all people. Fucking awesome, right? But it also means I owe him one. Not really sure how that works, but that's what he told me. Long story short, he got to pick today's source of bovine excrement. A guy going by the name Nature Hacker, who despite claims of a degree in engineering, doesn't understand basic physics and has come to the conclusion that rockets can't work in space, and so must be fake. No, seriously, he actually believes that. Now Red and other capable people have already rammed that pile of stupid back up his ass, so that's not what you're smelling. No, turns out Mr. Hacker also deals in my preferred brands of bullshit, selling alternative medicine on his website, and promoting general biology-related pseudoscience in his videos. Videos like this brilliantly titled one that he did on cancer.
I am the Nature Hacker, and this is your world.
Actually, I don't think we live in the same world. Yours seems much more dramatic, and apparently devoid of cameras with landscape mode, and really stupid.
Today I want to talk about cancer and what it really is.
Pretty sure I already know that, but tell me anyway.
The experts will tell you that it's a dysregulation of the cellular processes.
They would probably also specify that it's the processes related to cell growth and differentiation that are dysregulated, and explain that cancer is a group of more than 200 diseases characterized by abnormal cell growth and the ability of cells to invade other tissues. But they're just experts, what do they know?
While this is true, this is totally incomplete.
No, as far as a very general description of what cancer is goes. That's pretty much all of it.
And it offers no hope for a cure.
In much the same way that knowing that your car troubles are due to a bad spark plug doesn't actually help you fix your car.
Now, what could dysregulate the cell replication machinery?
Ignoring that cell division is far from the only thing that's dysregulated in cancer cells, the obvious answer would be a problem with what's regulating it. In a cell, that would be its genes, suggesting that cancers are genetic diseases, that they're caused by changes to a cell's genetic material, which is of course exactly what research has revealed to be the case.
Well, basically, the cells are getting hacked.
What?
And what are they getting hacked by? Carcinogens? Not really. Carcinogens are just toxins that make cells more susceptible to getting hacked.
You have a harder time with definitions than you do with rocket science, don't you? Firstly, not all carcinogens are toxins. Some of them, like gamma rays, aren't even chemicals. Toxins simply refer to poisonous substances produced by living organisms, some of which, but far from all, are carcinogens. Secondly, by definition, carcinogens are substances and agents that cause cancer. That is literally what the word means. So basically you just said that things that cause cancer don't cause cancer. Great job on the logic with that one.
So what is actually hacking them? Well, virus.
Viruses do kind of hack cells, in that they hijack them in order to reproduce. Although honestly I'm not sure if that's what you were going for. And yes, a few viruses are known to cause cancer. You've probably all heard of HPV. Thing is, we know that these so-called oncoviruses only account for around 12% of cancer cases worldwide.
Virus, is what hackers use on computers. Virus is what hackers use on biology.
I'm not sure which part of that was more retarded. The implication that there's a conspiracy of hackers using viruses to give us cancer, or that you just based an argument on two things having the same name.
Now, the virus hacks the cells. Now, how does it hack the cells?
For the safety of my own, as well as my audience's mental well-being, from now on I'm just going to assume that by hack you mean infect. The specifics of a virus's life cycle varies a fair bit between species, but most follow the same general and massively simplified stages. First, a virus particle, also known as a virion, attaches to a surface protein on a host cell, causing it, or at least its genetic material, to enter the cell. Once inside, the metabolism of the cell is then redirected to synthesize viral genomes and proteins, from which new virions are assembled before being released back into the world to infect other cells.
Well, the cells have been compromised by what? Carcinogens.
Wait, are you suggesting that exposing a cell to carcinogens increases its susceptibility to viral infections? Because that's what it sounds like. In fact, it almost sounds like you're saying it's a requirement for it getting infected. In which case, no, it isn't. Viruses are perfectly capable of infecting completely healthy cells on their own.
Now, what causes these carcinogens? Obviously radiation and toxins and things like that, right?
No, not right. Radiation and toxins are examples of things that can be carcinogens, not of things that cause them, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean.
Well, there's something even more sinister, more pervasive than that.
Wait, there's something even worse? That's not good. That's really bad and scary. Oh no. No.
And that is Candida.
Oh, I see. It's only scary if you're a complete dimwit. Candida is a genus of yeast that quacks really love to hate. If you can think of a condition, there's a good chance someone out there blames it on Candida. Some even go as far as to blame pretty much everything but taxes on it. Back in the real world, however, things are a little more nuanced and a lot less scary. Candida infections are a thing, usually manifesting as thrush or yeast infections. However, most of the times the human and yeast relationship is actually a completely harmless and beneficial one. Several species live on both the out and inside of humans, as part of the normal healthy microbiota. This also includes Candida albicans, the most common fungal pathogens in humans, which are found on 9 out of 10 people. Like all pathogenic Candida species, it's an opportunistic pathogen. The normal state of the site of infection has to be disrupted in some way, and while severe infections do occur, they're rare and mostly limited to people with compromised immune systems. Oh, and none of them cause cancer.
And particularly fungal mycotoxins.
Or just mycotoxins, in case you don't feel like being redundant. As you may have guessed from the name, these are toxins produced by molds, specifically those toxic to humans and other animals. Wait, hold on a minute. I thought you were going to tell us about something even worse than toxins. So does that mean mycotoxins aren't toxins in your world?
Like alpha toxin.
You mean aflatoxins, named after Aspergillus flavus, one of the species that produce them.
ALFATOXIN.
No, AFLATOXIN.
With an F and not a PH.
And with an FL rather than an LF. Your spelling skills aside, what exactly are aflatoxins anyway? As I hinted at, they are a group of mycotoxins produced by strains of Aspergillus flavus, as well as Aspergillus parasiticus and a few other species in the same genus. Found all over the world, these molds normally stick to soil and decaying plant matter. However, they're also more than happy to grow on crops stored under too hot and humid conditions, particularly on tree nuts and oilseeds like corn and peanuts. Aflatoxins are hepatotoxins, meaning that they primarily target the liver. The reason for this is that they only become toxic after being metabolized, which happens to happen in the liver. High-level exposures causes hepatic necrosis leading to liver failure or cirrhosis and a higher risk of liver cancer should you be lucky enough to survive. Chronic exposure likewise increases the risk of liver cancer, as well as stunt the growth in children.
Alpha toxins are the most potent carcinogen in the world.
Aflatoxin B1 is definitely a good candidate for that title, but aflatoxins aren't the magic cancer bullets you're making them out to be. As we would expect from hepatotoxins, they almost exclusively cause liver cancer. Not only do we know this from animal and epidemiological studies, it's also supported by research into the genetics of cancer. You know, research, that thing that those experts do. For example, the tumor suppressor gene, TP53, is mutated in some way in more than half of human cancers. Aflatoxins are known to induce a specific single nucleotide mutation in codon 249 of this gene, a mutation which is present in 50% of liver cancers, yet suspiciously a lot less frequent in other cancers.
And you're eating them every day in grains and whatnot.
Aspergillus is everywhere, making it impossible to avoid it completely. So there's always going to be some amount of aflatoxins in certain foods. But in developed countries with regular testing and modern storage facilities, that amount is going to be incredibly small and completely harmless. You and your audience are not in any danger, so you can stop being a fearmongering twat.
And not only that, but they're being produced inside your body by a pervasive fungus called Candida.
No species of Candida is able to produce aflatoxins, so no, they aren't.
So we obviously need to kill this Candida.
No, we don't.
So, we have learned so far that cancer is a collaboration between a virus and a fungus in the body.
We have? Because so far all I have learned is that you don't know shit about microbiology and oncology.
Now, how does the virus, which is so small, it's an inanimate object, it's not even living, how does the virus stick around in your body?
Viruses are neither not even living nor inanimate, because living and non-living aren't binary states, but rather the ends of a spectrum. Viruses occupy this grey area between clearly living things like you and me, and clearly dead things like rocks, or the brain of an anti-vaxxer. But what exactly does being alive or not being alive have to do with staying inside the human body anyway? The viruses are inside their host cells, having in some sense become part of them. So asking how viruses stay in your body is essentially the same as asking how your own cells stay in it, to which my answer would be to look up this thing called cell adhesion.
Well, it's quite simple actually.
Simple, and probably also painfully stupid.
And the answer is gram-negative bacteria. Viruses thrive on gram-negative bacteria. They're natural vectors.
I'm gonna need a minute to process the level of idiocy of what you just said. So why don't we clear up some terminology while we wait for my brain to catch up? First off on the list, vectors. In epidemiology, a vector is an organism which carries and transmits a pathogen to another organism. For example, mosquitoes are vectors for malaria and a long list of other nasty diseases. Secondly, we have gram-negative bacteria. These make up one of two major groups of bacteria, the other one being, rather unsurprisingly, gram-positive bacteria. There are a number of differences between the two, but the key ones have to do with the structures of their cell walls. Both have a plasma membrane and a peptidoglycan wall. However, in gram-negative bacteria, this wall is a lot thinner, and they have an additional membrane made of lipopolysaccharides and proteins. The names gram-positive and negative comes from the most widely used method to distinguish between the two, gram staining. Named after Danish bacteriologist Hans Christian Gram, it uses two different kinds of dye, crystal violet and one of a few different counterstains. I'll spare you the details, but the gist of it is that gram-positive bacteria retain the crystal violet due to their thick cell walls, making them look purple under a microscope. Gram-negative bacteria don't retain it and so end up looking pink or red thanks to the counterstain. Okay, back to the stupid. Since you have apparently taken a vow of unspecificity, I have no idea which viruses and gram-negative bacteria you're talking about. Not that actually makes a difference, but it is starting to sound like you think all viruses and gram-negative bacteria are basically the same. Which, seeing as they're two of the most diverse groups of organisms on the planet, would make you look even dumber than you already do. In any case, no. No bacteria, gram-negative or not, is a vector for human viral pathogens. Because viruses need their host's biomolecular machinery to infect and replicate, they are intimately tied to it. Many bacteriophages, viruses that infect bacteria, are only able to infect a single species or strain of bacteria. The machinery of bacteria and humans, and thus the viruses that infect them, are separated by billions of years of evolution. It would be like trying to run your car on rocket fuel or install Windows 95 on a kitchen scale. The world just doesn't work like that.
And where are these gram-negative bacteria? There's like 10 pounds of them in your gut.
10 pounds of gram-negative bacteria is a little high, seeing as that's more than double the weight of the entire human gut microbiota, not all of which is bacteria, and a lot of the bacteria are gram-positive.
Well, not my gut, but your gut.
You clearly don't live in a sterile room, so yes you do. And you should be glad you do. These microbes help your digestion and keep other, more harmful organisms from setting up shop. They're a perfectly normal part of how your body evolved to function. But you know what? If you want to believe that you have a super special sterile colon, I'm not going to try and stop you from making yourself look that silly.
Now, these viruses are just chilling in this gram-negative bacteria in your gut.
If you mean bacteriophages, then yes, you do indeed have a bunch of them in your gut. Yes, even you.
Constantly entering the bloodstream, riding in on what is known as endotoxin bacterial waste products.
Which are actually just known as endotoxins, since they aren't a waste product, but in fact another name for those lipopolysaccharides in gram-negative bacteria's outer membranes. And no, viruses probably aren't hitching rides on them. While small amounts of endotoxins are absorbed in the intestines, and at least 2 human-infecting viruses are known to use them to increase their infectiousness, the two have nothing to do with each other. The viruses increase their stability and attachment to their host cells by binding endotoxins to their surface. In other words, they're using them as aids for what they would do anyway. What you're describing would be a novel mechanism of infection, but without any evidence, it's currently just the ramblings of an idiot.
So, what have we learned so far? Cancer is a collaboration between a virus, a fungus, and a bacteria.
Nope. Still going to go with you not knowing shit about microbiology or oncology.
Now that we know what cancer is exactly.
Except we already have a more than decent answer to that question, thanks to decades of actual research. You haven't added anything to that answer. In fact, you didn't even address the question. Instead, you just tagged irrelevant nonsense about a vague and impossible cause of cancer onto the answer we already have.
Now there is hope to treat it.
If you seriously believe that, your Dunning-Kruger has progressed into full-on delusions of grandeur, to the point that we will probably have to do surgery to remove part of your ego.
And the treatment would include antiviral, but not necessarily viral, but killing the viral vectors, which are the gram-negative bacteria.
What? You wanna try that one again? I think what you're trying to say is that a possible strategy for fighting these cancer-causing viruses would be to kill their bacterial hosts, which is about as useful as suggesting bringing silver bullets on a werewolf hunt. But good job coming up with a solution to a made-up problem. I would also like to point out that a bacterium carrying a virus would be a bacterial vector, not a viral one. Viral vectors is a tool used in genetic engineering. Anyway, how would you suggest we fight these bacteria?
So killing gram-negative bacteria in the intestines, best way to do that is with a desiccant like diatomaceous earth or bentonite clay.
Both of those are indeed desiccants, substances which dry out their surroundings by absorbing water. Diatomaceous earth is made of the porous silica cell walls of long-dead diatoms, a group of algae still alive today. Bentonite clay is a group of clays made of sheet silicates. It's capable of absorbing large amounts of water relative to its dry mass, expanding as it does so. Needless to say, neither of them will kill your gut bacteria. Bentonite clay will however act as a mild laxative if eaten, which might give you the impression that you're cleaning out your insides.
And killing candida, which is best done with herbal combinations.
But I'm not going to tell you which.
So that's it. Also, pancreatin has shown antiviral and anti-cancer attributes.
No, it fucking hasn't. Pancreatin is a mixture of digestive enzymes taken orally by people whose own pancreas doesn't secrete enough of them. Anyone with a basic understanding of the digestive system and about a minute of time to spare should be able to work out why extra digestive enzymes aren't going to cure either your melanoma or hep C. But here's a hint. The body doesn't absorb digestive enzymes. They're meant to be inside the digestive tract and digest food, which makes it rather difficult for them to attack viruses and cancer cells inside the body, an ability they don't even have to begin with.
So now that you know what cancer is, you're set to be able to cure it.
In what will no doubt be the least anticipated film of the year.
I am the nature hacker. Do work.
What a perfectly fitting line to end on. One that probably means something to you, but is complete nonsense to the rest of us. It even captures the cringe-worthy arrogance. The only thing it's missing is a whole lot of weapons-grade bullshit and large amounts of misinformation about cancer, microbiology, or just reality in general. Seriously, normally I would make a point of calling you out for potentially putting people's lives in danger, but I would like to think that no one would be dumb enough to listen to you. So, there you go, Red. I subjected myself to painful stupidity for you. I hope you're happy with the result. And to the rest of you, thanks for watching the product of my suffering, and don't forget to go check out Red and his videos. See you next time, Domes.